The voicemail came at 6:47 on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and it shattered everything I thought I knew about my daughter. Mom, we're keeping Thanksgiving small this year. Just the people who actually contribute to the family, you understand. Rachel's voice was casual, almost bored, like she was canceling a hair appointment. Anyway, don't worry about bringing anything. We've got it covered. I played it 3 times, not because I didn't understand, but because I wanted to memorize every inflection, every pause, every carefully chosen word. People who actually contribute, as if 37 years of raising her, supporting her, funding her life meant nothing, as if I was just dead weight she needed to cut loose. I'm Dorothy Morrison. Most people call me Dottie. I'm 64 years old, a retired pediatric nurse who spent 41 years at St. Michael's Hospital in Portland, Oregon. I raised Rachel alone after her father walked out when she was 6. Never asked for child support. Never complained. Never let her see me struggle. I thought I'd done everything right. Apparently I was wrong. I sat in my kitchen, the one in the craftsman bungalow I'd scrimped and saved for decades to keep, and I listened to that voicemail again. People who actually contribute. The phrase echoed in my head. I looked around at my home, at the photos on the refrigerator, at the calendar marked with Rachel's schedule, with Lily's doctor appointments, with all the ways I'd woven my life around theirs, and I realized I was done. My hands moved almost on their own. I picked up my phone and opened my banking app, the one connected to the account I'd set up years ago. The family support account, I'd called it. A joint account where I deposited money for emergencies, for helping Rachel when times got tough, for making sure my granddaughter Lily had everything she needed. I scrolled through the transaction history. Each line was a memory I'd tried to forget. $8,000 for Rachel's business venture 3 years ago. A boutique clothing store that lasted 6 months before she got bored and closed it. She never mentioned repaying me. $4,200 for Lily's braces and follow-up dental work. Rachel had promised to split it. She never did. $6,700 for Rachel's divorce lawyer. When she and Kevin split up 2 years ago, she'd cried on my shoulder, told me she'd pay me back when the settlement came through. The settlement came. The money never did. $12,000 for the down payment assistance on Rachel's new townhouse. She'd said it was a loan. She'd said she'd start payments as soon as she got settled. That was 18 months ago. $3,000 for Lily's junior year expenses. School trips, SAT prep, a laptop for homework. Rachel said she'd handle the next round. And then there were the smaller charges. The grocery runs on my card that were supposed to be emergencies, but became routine. The gas fill-ups, the quick loans of $200 here, $300 there, that were never mentioned again. I did the math. Over the past 5 years, I had given Rachel $63,400, not including the intangible things. The weekends spent babysitting so she could have a life, the dinners I cooked and brought over, the hours I spent driving Lily to doctor appointments when Rachel was too busy. And now, I wasn't someone who actually contributed. My daughter had turned me into an ATM with legs. And I had let her. I thought about my father then, Richard Morrison. He died 8 years ago in a memory care facility in Eugene. I hadn't been there when it happened. I'd been working a double shift at the hospital, covering for a colleague who'd called in sick. By the time I got the call, he'd been gone for 3 hours. The guilt had never left me. When Dad started showing signs of dementia 12 years ago, he'd asked to come live with me. Dottie girl, he'd said, using the nickname from my childhood. I don't want to be alone in some facility. Can I stay with you? Just until. He couldn't finish the sentence, and I'd said no. I told myself it was because I worked long hours. I told myself the house wasn't set up for someone with his needs. I told myself he'd be more comfortable with professional care. But the truth was simpler and uglier. Dad was complicated. Our relationship had always been difficult. He'd been harsh when I was growing up, critical and cold. Caring for him felt like rewarding behavior that had hurt me, so I'd chosen distance over compassion. I visited once a month, paid his bills. Told myself that financial support was enough. And when he died, I wasn't there to hold his hand. Now, sitting in my kitchen with Rachel's voicemail echoing in my ears, I wondered if this was karma. If I was being punished for how I'd treated my father, or if I'd simply taught my daughter, through my own example, that family was disposable when they became inconvenient. Either way, I was done being disposed of. I navigated to the authorized users section of the banking app. Rachel's name sat there, innocently listed. I could remove her access with one tap. One tap, and the endless flow of money would stop. My finger hovered over the button, then I pressed it. Rachel Morrison Ellis. Removed. The confirmation appeared instantly. I stared at it for a long moment, my heart pounding. Then I typed a text message to Rachel. Keeping it simple. Received your voicemail. Understood. I've removed myself as a contributor to the family account since I'm not contributing to the family. Have a nice Thanksgiving. I hit send at 7:23 p.m. The response came 11 minutes later. What are you talking about? What account? Then, 30 seconds later. Mom, this isn't funny. And again, call me back right now. I turned my phone face down on the counter and went to water my plants. By 9 p.m., I had 47 missed calls and 63 text messages. Rachel's tone had evolved from confusion to irritation to outrage to panic. You can't just do this. The card isn't working. I'm at the grocery store. This is humiliating. Mom, Thanksgiving dinner depends on this. We have 20 people coming. I swear to God, if you don't fix this, I'll never speak to you again. That last one made me pause. Never speak to me again. As if she spoke to me now for any reason other than needing something. My phone rang. Not Rachel this time. My younger sister, Gloria. I answered. Dottie, what on earth is going on? Gloria's voice was sharp. Rachel just called me in hysterics. She says you've cut her off financially right before Thanksgiving. I removed her access to my account. Yes. Why would you do that? I took a breath. Did she tell you what she said to me? In the voicemail? Silence. She said she's keeping Thanksgiving small this year. For people who actually contribute to the family. I wasn't invited. Gloria. To my own daughter's Thanksgiving. More silence. Then Gloria sighed. I'm sure she didn't mean it like that. How many ways can you interpret people who actually contribute? She's under a lot of stress. The divorce, raising Lily alone, her job. I raised Rachel alone too. After Ben left, I worked double shifts for years. Nobody made excuses for my stress. That's different. You're the mother. You're supposed to. Supposed to what? Fund her life while being told I don't contribute? Support her financially while being excluded from family gatherings? Gloria didn't answer. I've given her over $60,000 in 5 years, Gloria. $60,000. And I just got told I don't contribute enough to earn a seat at Thanksgiving dinner. I heard Gloria's sharp intake of breath. 60,000? I kept records. Every transfer, every check, every time my card was used. $63,400. Not including childcare, meals, transportation for Lily. Just cash. Dottie, I had no idea. No one did. Because I never complained. I just kept giving and giving. And Rachel just kept taking and taking. And apparently, that makes me someone who doesn't contribute. Gloria was quiet for a long moment. Then, what are you going to do? I'm going to have Thanksgiving by myself. Maybe I'll volunteer at the shelter. At least those people will appreciate a meal. Dottie, I'm tired, Gloria. I'm tired of being used. I'm tired of being invisible until someone needs my checkbook. I'm 64 years old. I deserve better than this. After I hung up, I sat in my living room and looked at the photo on my mantle. Rachel at 16, grinning at the camera, her whole life ahead of her. I'd taken that picture the day she got her driver's license. She'd hugged me so tight afterward, said thanks for everything, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you. When had that girl disappeared? When had my daughter become someone who saw me as nothing but a source of funds? Or had I made her that way? Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day. I woke at 6 a.m., made coffee, and watched the sunrise through my kitchen window. The neighborhood was quiet, everyone sleeping in before the chaos of family gatherings and elaborate meals. I thought about the Thanksgivings of Rachel's childhood. Just the two of us, sometimes three if my dad came. Small but warm. We'd cook together, watch the parade on TV, go for a walk if the weather was nice. I missed those days. My phone had been silent since 2 a.m. I'd expected Rachel to show up at my door, but she hadn't. Maybe she'd realized I was serious. Or maybe she'd found someone else to fund her dinner party. At 8:17 a.m., my phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Morrison? A young man's voice, professional but uncertain. Yes? This is Daniel from Whole Foods on Hawthorne. I'm calling about an issue with an order under your family's account. My stomach tightened. What kind of issue? The card on file was declined. There's a fairly large catering order. Turkey, sides, pies, the works. About $1,800. The pickup was scheduled for this morning. $1,800. For Thanksgiving dinner, using my card. I'm sorry, I said, keeping my voice steady. That card is no longer authorized. Any charges will need to be handled by my daughter directly. A pause. I see. So, we shouldn't hold the order? That's correct. I understand, Mrs. Morrison. Thank you for clarifying. After I hung up, I sat very still. $1,800. She'd ordered an $1,800 Thanksgiving feast on my card without asking, and she'd told me I didn't contribute enough to attend. The audacity of it took my breath away. My phone exploded at 8:45 a.m. Rachel, Gloria, my cousin Patricia, numbers I didn't recognize. Texts flooding in so fast I couldn't read them. The order is being held. Fix this now. Mom, you're ruining Thanksgiving for everyone. This is beyond selfish. Think about Lily. You've made your point. Stop being petty. I turned off my phone and went for a walk. The neighborhood was beautiful in late November. Leaves crunching underfoot. Smoke rising from chimneys. The smell of cooking turkey drifting from houses where families were gathering. Normal people having normal holidays with normal family dynamics. I walked for 2 hours. By the time I got home, I knew what I needed to do. I turned my phone back on and called Lily directly. She answered on the second ring. Grandma? Her voice was small, uncertain. So different from Rachel's sharp demands. Hi, sweetheart. Happy Thanksgiving. Grandma, what's happening? Mom is freaking out. She says you canceled everything. I removed her access to my bank account. That's all. But the dinner. Your mother planned an $1,800 dinner and expected me to pay for it, while also telling me I wasn't invited because I don't contribute to the family. Silence. Then, quietly, she said that? In a voicemail. Yesterday, more silence. I could almost hear Lily processing this, matching it against what Rachel had told her. That's really messed up, Grandma. Yes, it is. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know she said that. I know you didn't, sweetie. This isn't about you. Are you okay? The question, so simple and genuine, made my eyes sting. When was the last time anyone had asked me that? I'm working on it. Grandma. Lily hesitated. Can I tell you something? Always. There's something you should know. About the money. My grip on the phone tightened. What money? My college fund. The one Grandpa Richard left me. Everything in me went cold. My father had left Lily $20,000 in his will, specifically for her education. I was the trustee, but I'd transferred control to Rachel 3 years ago when Lily turned 14, thinking it would be easier for them to manage. What about it, Lily? It's mostly gone. The world seemed to tilt. Gone? What do you mean, gone? Mom's been using it. For bills, she said. For emergencies. She told me she'd pay it back before I needed it for college. But Lily's voice cracked. But applications are in 2 months, and the account has $400 in it. 400. Grandma. Out of 20,000. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. I didn't want to tell you because Mom said it would upset you. She said you had enough stress. But Grandma, that was Grandpa's money. He left it for me. For school. And she just... Lily. My voice came out strangled. How long have you known? 6 months. I found out when I tried to check the balance for my financial aid applications. 6 months. My granddaughter had been carrying this for 6 months. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. Yes, it is. I should have kept control of that account. I should have been watching. Grandma, what am I going to do? I got into Portland State early admission. But without that money, I can't. Her voice broke completely. I can't go. Something hardened inside me. Something that had been soft and yielding for far too long. You're going to go to college, Lily. I promise you that. But right now, I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to come stay with me for a few days. Can you do that? Mom won't like it. I know. But I think some distance would be good right now. For both of us. Lily arrived at my house at 3 p.m., backpack over her shoulder, eyes red from crying. Rachel had tried to stop her, apparently. There had been a screaming match, but Lily was 17, and she'd made her choice. I hugged her in my doorway, this girl who had grown up so fast, who had been carrying adult burdens that should never have been hers. Thank you for telling me, I said. About the money, I should have told you sooner. You were trying to protect your mother. I understand. We spent Thanksgiving evening together. Not the elaborate feast I'd imagined years ago. Just soup and sandwiches and conversation. Real conversation. The kind I hadn't had in years. Lily told me everything. About Rachel's spending. About the credit card bills that came and disappeared. About the new furniture and the spa days and the girls' trips, all while claiming they couldn't afford basic necessities. About being asked to take a gap year because college isn't going anywhere while Rachel planned a trip to Cancun with her friends. And about something else. Something that made my blood run cold. Grandma, Lily said quietly. Mom's been telling people, you have dementia. I stared at her. What? She tells her friends that you're getting confused, that you don't remember things right, that you make up stories about money and get paranoid. Lily couldn't meet my eyes. I think she's been setting up. I don't know, like an excuse, for why people shouldn't believe you if you ever said anything about what she's been doing. The manipulation was so calculated, so deliberate, that it made me nauseous. How long? A few months. Since you started asking more questions about where money was going, I thought about all the times lately when Rachel had looked at me with exaggerated patience, speaking slowly, repeating things as if I were confused. I'd thought I was imagining things. I'd thought maybe I was getting older, less sharp. She'd been gaslighting me, laying the groundwork to discredit anything I might say. Lily, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Okay, do you think I have dementia? Do I seem confused to you? Lily looked at me directly for the first time since arriving. No, Grandma. You're the sanest person in this family. That's why Mom's scared of you. Monday morning, I called my attorney. Nancy Chen had handled my retirement paperwork, my father's estate, my will. She was sharp, practical, and didn't waste time on pleasantries. What do you need, Dottie? I need to protect my granddaughter, and I need to hold my daughter accountable. I spent 2 hours in Nancy's office, laying out everything. The financial records, the stolen college fund, Lily's testimony, the dementia rumors. Nancy's face grew grimmer with each revelation. $19,600 missing from a trust fund, she said finally. That's not just family drama, Dottie. That's a crime. I know. You could press charges, breach of fiduciary duty, theft, fraud. I don't want to send my daughter to prison. I just want Lily's money back. Nancy nodded slowly. We can start with a formal demand letter. Give Rachel 30 days to begin repayment. If she doesn't comply, we escalate. Do it. We drafted 3 documents. A formal revocation of any remaining financial access, a cease and desist regarding the dementia claims, and a demand for restitution of Lily's college fund with a 30-day deadline and clear consequences. As I signed each document, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't anger, though there was plenty of that. This was clarity. For the first time in years, I was seeing my relationship with Rachel exactly as it was. Not through the fog of maternal guilt or desperate hope, but clearly, honestly, and it was broken. The certified letter arrived at Rachel's townhouse on Monday afternoon. I know because that's when my phone started ringing off the hook. You're suing me? Rachel's voice was a shriek. Your own daughter? Over money? Over Lily's money. The money my father left her. The money you stole. I didn't steal anything. It was a loan. Did Lily agree to the loan? Silence. That's what I thought. This is insane. You're insane. Everyone says so. You're losing your mind and you're taking it out on me. I'm not losing my mind, Rachel. That's just the story you've been telling people so they won't believe me when I finally started speaking up. Her sharp intake of breath told me I'd hit the mark. Lily told me. About the things you've been saying, the confusion act, the careful suggestions that I'm getting dementia. Very clever. I was worried about you. You were covering your tracks. This is ridiculous. I'm your daughter. You're supposed to support me. I've supported you for 37 years. $63,000 in the last 5 alone. And in return, you stole from your own child and tried to make everyone think I was losing my mind. We're done, Rachel. What does that mean? It means you have 30 days to start repaying Lily's college fund. Payment plan. Notarized. In writing. If you miss that deadline, I'll pursue legal action. You wouldn't. Try me. The family meeting happened a week later at Gloria's house. The whole clan gathered. Gloria, my brother Martin, several cousins. Rachel sat in the center of the living room, like a defendant, awaiting judgment, face puffy from days of crying, and me, on the opposite side, with Lily beside me. The first hour was chaos, Rachel claiming I was unstable, Gloria trying to mediate, Martin looking uncomfortable and checking his phone every 3 minutes, cousins whispering to each other. Finally, I stood up. I have something to show everyone. I pulled out a folder. Bank statements. Transaction records. A copy of the trust document my father had created for Lily. The current balance, showing $400. This is what Rachel has done. Not claims, not accusations, facts. $63,400 taken from me over 5 years. $19,600 taken from Lily's college fund. All documented. All verified by my attorney. The room went silent. 63,000? Gloria's voice was faint. Every receipt. Every transfer. Every time my card was used without permission. I looked at Rachel. Would you like to explain? Rachel's face went through a transformation. Shock, then anger, then something that might have been shame. I was struggling. You all know I was struggling. After the divorce, after everything. So you stole from your daughter's college fund? Martin's voice was sharp. He'd always had a soft spot for Lily. It was temporary. I was going to pay it back. When? Lily spoke up for the first time. When? Mom? Applications are in 8 weeks. I need that money now. I'm working on it. You went to Cancun last month, Lily said quietly. Posted pictures all over Instagram. Beach vacation with your friends. How much did that cost? Rachel couldn't answer. Was it more than my college fund? Still nothing. I watched my daughter shrink under the weight of 17 years of her own choices coming home to roost. Part of me wanted to comfort her. Old habits die hard, but I thought about my father. about the money he'd carefully set aside for his great-granddaughter's education, about how he'd wanted to give her opportunities he'd never had, and how Rachel had taken that gift and spent it on herself without a second thought. 30 days, Rachel, I said. You have a payment plan on my attorney's desk by December 30th. Or we proceed with legal action. You'd really take me to court? Your own daughter? I'd protect my granddaughter from her own mother. There's a difference. The meeting ended without resolution. Rachel stormed out. Gloria cried. Martin offered to write Lily a check for her first semester, which made me cry. Family, messy and complicated, and somehow still there when it mattered. Lily stayed with me through the holidays. We decorated my little house, watched Christmas movies, talked about her plans for college. She'd gotten a partial scholarship. Between Martin's help and what I could contribute, she'd be able to start at Portland State. In the fall, on December 29th, a letter arrived. Official envelope, notarized documents inside. Rachel had signed a payment plan. $500 a month for 39 months. Every payment going directly into a new account for Lily, one that Rachel would never have access to. There was a note attached. Rachel's handwriting. I'm sorry, I know that's not enough. I'm starting therapy in January. Dr. Williams. She specializes in financial trauma and family dynamics. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me, but I'm going to try to become someone worth forgiving. I read the note 3 times. Then I called Lily. She signed it. Silence. Then, a shaky exhale. She actually did it? First payment due January 15th. Do you think she'll follow through? I thought about it. About my daughter, who I'd raised and loved and somehow lost along the way. About patterns and karma and the possibility of change. I don't know, sweetheart. But at least now there are consequences if she doesn't. The payments came. January. February. March. Each month. $500 appearing in Lily's account. Like clockwork. Rachel and I didn't speak directly for 4 months, but I heard updates through Gloria. Rachel was going to therapy twice a week. She'd taken a second job to make the payments. She'd stopped posting on social media entirely. In April, a text message arrived. Mom, can we talk? Coffee? Just the 2 of us. Your choice of place and time. I won't make excuses. I just want to apologize properly. If you're not ready, I understand. I'll wait. I stared at those words for a long time. Then I typed back. Saturday, 10 a.m. The coffee shop on Division where we used to go when you were in high school. I'll be there. She was early, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups of coffee already ordered, looking smaller somehow. The hard edges I'd seen developing over the years had softened. Her eyes were red but clear. I sat down across from her. Mom. Her voice cracked on the single syllable. Thank you for coming. I'm here. I practiced what I wanted to say. Wrote it down, even. But now I'm sitting here and none of it seems like enough. Try anyway. Rachel took a shaky breath. I was wrong. About everything. The way I treated you. The things I said. The money I took from Lily. The lies I told about your mental state. All of it. I was so caught up in my own problems that I convinced myself I was entitled to whatever help I could get, by any means necessary. She looked down at her hands. Dr. Williams has been helping me understand why. After Dad left, after Kevin left, I built my whole identity around being someone who could handle everything alone. But I couldn't. I was failing. All the time. At everything. And instead of admitting that, instead of asking for help honestly, I just took and told myself you owed it to me because you were my mother. I didn't owe you my dignity, I said quietly. I didn't owe you Lily's future. I didn't owe you Lily's future. I know. I know that now. Rachel wiped her eyes. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I'm not even asking for that. I just needed you to know that I see it now. What I did, who I became, and I'm trying to be different. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I asked the question that had been haunting me, the dementia rumors. Why? Rachel flinched. Because I was scared. You were starting to ask questions. Notice things. I thought if I could make everyone think you were confused, then whatever you said wouldn't matter. It was. She stopped. Swallowed hard. It was the worst thing I've ever done. Trying to make my own mother seem crazy so I could keep stealing from her. I don't know how to live with that. You live with it by being better. She looked up, surprise on her face. I did something similar once, I said. Not to you. To my father. Grandpa Richard? I nodded. When he got sick, when he asked to come live with me, I said no. I had excuses, reasons, justifications. But the truth was, I just didn't want the inconvenience. I chose my comfort over his needs. And when he died, I wasn't there. I was working. I chose work over being with him in his final hours. Rachel stared at me. You never told me that, because I was ashamed. I still am. Every time I visit his grave, I apologize for not being there, for not being better. I reached across the table and took my daughter's hand. I've spent 8 years wondering if what happened with you was karma, if you treated me the way I treated him, if I taught you, somehow, that family was disposable when they became inconvenient. Mom, maybe I did. Maybe these patterns go back generations, each of us hurting the ones we love because we don't know any better. But Rachel, I don't want it to continue. I don't want Lily to grow up thinking this is how family works. Neither do I. We sat there, hands linked across a coffee shop table, 37 years of mistakes and misunderstandings stretching between us. I can't promise everything will go back to normal, I said. I don't even know what normal looks like anymore. I'm not asking for normal. I'm asking for a chance to prove I can be different, to earn back your trust, even if it takes years. I thought about my father, about the forgiveness I'd never gotten to ask for, the reconciliation that had died with him, about cycles and karma, and the possibility of breaking free. Okay, I said. We can try. Lily started at Portland State in September. Rachel never missed a payment. By December, she'd repaid $8,000. On Thanksgiving, 1 year after the voicemail that had shattered everything, my phone buzzed at 6:47 a.m. Mom, I'm making dinner this year. Nothing fancy. Just the 3 of us. You're the first person I'm inviting. Will you come? I typed back without hesitation. I'll bring the pie. That evening, I sat in Rachel's small townhouse with my daughter and granddaughter, eating turkey that was slightly overcooked and stuffing from a box in green bean casserole that somehow tasted perfect anyway. I want to say something, Lily announced, raising her glass of sparkling cider, to the 2 strongest women I know. Grandma, you taught me that love without boundaries isn't love at all. And Mom, you taught me that it's never too late to change. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. Mine did too. To second chances, I said, raising my glass. To family, Rachel added. The real kind. The kind that holds each other accountable. To us, Lily finished. We clinked glasses. Later, after Lily had gone to bed, and Rachel and I were washing dishes side by side, my daughter said something that stayed with me. Mom, do you think Grandpa Richard would be proud of how this turned out? I thought about my father, about the difficult man he'd been, about the love he'd shown in his own imperfect way, about the legacy he'd left for Lily that had nearly been stolen. I think he'd be proud that we didn't give up on each other, that we found a way through. Rachel nodded, drying a plate with careful attention. I'm going to pay back your money too. The $63,000. It'll take a while, but I want to. That's not necessary. Yes, it is. For me, I need to know I can stand on my own, that I'm not just taking any more. I looked at my daughter, at the woman she was fighting to become, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Okay, I said. If that's what you need. 2 years later, Lily graduated summa cum laude with a degree in social work. Rachel paid back $31,000, We never got back to normal, whatever that meant. But we built something better, something honest. On the day of Lily's graduation, Rachel handed me a card. Inside was a simple message. Mom, I spent most of my life thinking love meant getting what I wanted from people. You taught me it actually means becoming someone worth loving. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I deserved it. I hugged my daughter in the bright spring sunshine, surrounded by families celebrating new beginnings. And I understood something I'd been struggling to accept. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting, it's about choosing the future over the past. We walked together toward the ceremony, 3 generations of women who had learned the hard way that love without boundaries isn't love at all, and that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is refuse to make things easy.